and thanks for logging on to the daily DVAR Halacha. And here's a brand new Halacha for you, and it's for Tuesday, 18th day of August, 28th day of Av. 28th of Av means that I should be right around now giving you your reminder that tomorrow, Wednesday, is the 29th. Wednesday night and Thursday night and Friday are a double day of Rosh Chodesh. Thursday is going to mark the last day of Av. And Friday, is going to mark the first day of the month of Elul. That's when we'll start blowing the shofar every morning. Okay, now to this morning's halacha. I wanted to teach you about the bracha of Hamapil. That's the bracha that we say right at the end of the Kriya Shema, that we say right before we go to sleep. You can find all of this in your siddur. And that bracha is said just before you fall asleep. After you say it, you wait quietly, you don't speak anymore, and you just drift off to sleep. But I want to tell you some interesting things about it. So for that, we're going to go first right to the source, to the Gemara, where it is first mentioned. This is a Gemara in Brachos that says, Hanichnas lishan, he who goes to sleep, al mitasa, on his bed. Omer, he says, Mishma Yisrael ad v'haya im shamoa. He should say from Shema until V'haya im Shema, first paragraph of Shema. V'omer Baruch Hamapil Chevli Sheina al Inai. And he should say this bracha of talking about God, who gives the sleep, then puts it over my eyes, etc., etc. And interestingly, and this is going to be important to our discussion, if I could take you down here lower, it says, Baruch atah Hashem, Hameir la'olam kulo bichvodo. And then we end it with a bracha. We started with a bracha, and we end it with a bracha. And the ending is Hameir la'olam kulo bichvodo, he who lightens up the whole world with his honor. Interesting page here if you ever want to look at this Gemara and Brachos on Daf Samach Aleph 61. It illustrates where the bracha of Elokai Neshama comes from. Up a little higher, it's the famous bracha that we say after we go to the bathroom. But today we're focusing on this. Gemara institutes a bracha that we say before sleep. Okay, now we're going to get to the nitty-gritty of what category this bracha falls into, which is going to make for some interesting halachic differences for you and I when we fall asleep. Here goes. We're going to look now at a famous Rambam that says, Nimtzu kol ha-brachas kulon shlosha minin. All brachas fall under three different species or categories. Birchos hanaya, there are blessings that are for benefit, like before you eat an orange, you say, blessed is God who gives me this benefit. There's birchos mitzvos, those are brachas like the bracha you say right before you light candles, right before you put on tefillin. Birchos hoda, and there are also brachos of praise. Shehin derech shvach v'hodaya uv'akasha. The third category of brachos are brachos hoda, of thanking and praising God. Praising God, I guess, is a better way to say it, and remembering all of His greatness. Okay, the reason I'm taking you on this trip here is because we want to figure out for ourselves what kind of bracha hamapil is. Is it a bracha for benefit? Is it a bracha for a mitzvah? Is it a bracha for praising God? It certainly doesn't seem like a bracha of a mitzvah, right? Because you don't have a mitzvah to go to sleep. You need to go to sleep. We do this for the sake of God, but it's not exactly a command in our Torah, thou shalt sleep. Okay, so what kind of bracha is it? So for that, I have to take you to my desktop here where I took a photograph of a biur halacha so that I could show it to you. So here is the biur halacha. And sorry, you lost my face there for a minute. And here's what the biur halacha says. Ayin b'chaya adam shemitzaded lomar, tafilu lo haya yachal achar kach lishan. Even if you can't fall asleep after you say the bracha, gam kain ein ha-bracha levatala. If you say hamapil, and then you suffer from bad insomnia and you can't fall asleep, don't worry that you said the bracha for nothing. And you said the bracha and you didn't fall asleep, don't worry about it. Dal min hago shel olam hu mevarech. You're saying the bracha as a praise to God for giving us this thing called sleep. V'chein mashma b'chad tirutza be'el yaraba. So basically, if the Hebrew is hard for you here, basically what the Mishnah Berurah is quoting the Chai Adam, who says, in his opinion, that it's a bracha for hoda and praise. I'm praising God that He created this entity called sleep. And so he says, if you have insomnia and you said the bracha and you couldn't fall asleep, don't worry about it. All you're doing is praising God for creating sleep in the world. If you personally didn't fall asleep, it's no big deal. And now the Mishnah Berurah says, he argues, according to my knowledge, he says, I think you have to examine this. Because the lingo of this bracha is a language that really applies to yourself. Hamapil al einai. He who puts the thing of sleep over my eyes. Now, if you're saying it like that, he's putting it onto my eyes. I'm praising God. It sounds like, says the Mishnah Berurah, that this is a bracha of benefit. God is going to put sleep over my eyes in just a few moments, and I thank God for this benefit of sleep that He's giving me. And therefore, it's important, because if you view it in this way, if you're afraid because of your insomnia that you might not be able to sleep, then you should not be making this bracha if you feel like you're in doubt about your being able to fall asleep. Okay, now, so what we get out of this is we have an argument between the Chai Adam and the Mishnah Berurah about whether this bracha of Hamapil is a bracha of general praise to God. According to that, the Chai Adam says, go ahead and say it, even if you have insomnia. It doesn't matter. You're just praising God for creating sleep in the world. The Mishnah Berurah, on the other hand, holds that it is a bracha all about the benefit that it gives you, and therefore if you're not going to get that benefit and you're not going to fall asleep, you're in doubt as to whether you should say it or not. I'm going to show you something interesting that came to me via an email from the Orthodox Union, the Halacha Yomi, and look what he says here at the ending. He says, this is from, these are quotes from Rav Belsky, and here it's quoted, Rabbi Genak relates that he heard from Rabbi Soloveitchik that Reb Chaim never said Hamapil because he was concerned that he would not fall asleep. So there you have it. Because of the opinion of this Mishnah Berurah, and the Chazon Ish also held like this Mishnah Berurah, many others argue, but based on this Mishnah Berurah and Chazon Ish, Rabbi Genak relates that he heard from Rabbi Soloveitchik that Reb Chaim never said Hamapil because he was concerned that he would not fall asleep. So, I guess where I'm leaving you here with today after this halacha is that if you do suffer from insomnia and saying Hamapil and then thinking, I might not fall asleep here the whole night, what should I do? This might be a conversation that you want to have with your rabbi at some point, because there are two different ways to view the bracha of Hamapil. And that's what I wanted to teach you for today. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it made sense. Thanks for logging on. Log on again tomorrow for more. Bye-bye.